When you think of freedom, do you think that controlling your time will give you more freedom or less? There are people who might feel that, no, I don't want to, if I look at time and time management, that's just control, that's less freedom. But I and my clients and the author of this book, Alan Lakein, How to Get Control of Your Time in Your Life, say that you can get more freedom by controlling your time in the right way and to the right level. Let me explain by using information that Alan Lakein shares in his book, along with my own thoughts and ideas. So this is my summary of one of the parts in this book. I will share more. Let's look at this particular area to increase your freedom, care about and control your time. So let's look at what time is, Alan's approach and mine, and what your payoff is when you approach time management in a certain way. So if we start with looking at what time is, this first thing is irreversible. This is what stresses so many people out. Like, I must not waste time. I mustn't lose time because I can't get it back. That's all true. But there's no reason to stress out. Yes, it is irreversible. The days that have passed will not come back, and whatever has happened has happened. That's a fact. We don't have to agonize about it. It's just the way it is. In the same way, time is irreplaceable. Sure, we live in a society where sometimes we try to replace or exchange time for money, for instance. And there's a lot of things we say time is money, but we know we can't really replace time. The time you had with your small children cannot be replaced by something else. The time you had being a child cannot be replaced. Time is irreversible and time is irreplaceable. But as I said, don't freak out about it, because this is what I say, the one I put in pink. I remind us about time keeps coming to us as long as we live. Yes, the time that has passed, but you get new all the time. As long as you live, you get this thing I keep talking about, a glass of time. Every week you get your glass of time with 168 hours each week that you decide how to use. And another important thing about what time is life. The way you spend your time is the way you spend your life. So to master time is to master your life and make the most of it, rather than making less of it. So let's take a deeper look at Alan's approach, the way he describes it in this book. What will managing time or controlling time mean? As he says clearly, it will not be about trying to get everything done in the shortest time with the fewest waste motions. A lot of people think that's what time management is, becoming super efficient, not wasting anything. But as he says, and I agree, extreme clock watching takes the life right out of an activity along with the thought. So that's something you can keep an eye on. If you're super much focusing on exactly how long things take and how efficient you are you taking the life out of what you're doing and the thought along with it? His approach is also about working less hard rather than harder. Again, many people might think time management is going to make me work hard all the time because we think it's about being busy. But what he says, what it's really about is think about how you really want to use your time. And thereby, you can do more of what you always wanted to do. My own example, as you might have heard, I love writing stories. So I do. And I wanted to do that even if I had a very demanding job and at the time 3 small children who are now 3 big children, older children. But time management can help you do that, can help you do the things you want to do, not just work harder and get more efficient. And then you can enjoy life more. That's the whole point of managing your time well. He also says what he focuses on in his book is to become an effectiveness expert, not efficiency. So if efficiency is, I know how to do this as fast as possible, effectiveness is knowing the right things to do. And that means choosing to do some things, not at all, or at a very low ambition level, or let someone else do, so you can really focus on what matters. because efficiency is fine in its place. Of course it is. But effectiveness is so much more important. And if you ever feel like, yeah, but it's just not me, I'm not good at managing my time, it was always hard to plan, it's hard to estimate how long things take, I always make things take long. Effective time use is a skill that can be acquired. Alan's book can help you, my book can help you, others can help you, I can help you. You can learn. If you feel you can't, you just haven't found the right way for you yet. But of course, it's a skill that you can learn. So what is the payoff of managing time better? Control of your life. So what does control mean? This is where control can sound so boring, but I really like one way he uses to describe this. He talks about similar to good muscle tone. So let's look at his description of level of control. You might have it too tight. So it's like a clenched fist. If you want to control everything, nothing can go wrong, it has to take exactly as long as I thought it would take, and the sequence must happen, nothing else can happen. Then you become compulsive, restrained, obsessive. That's not the type of control we're suggesting. You can also be like too loose. That's a hanging hand where, whatever happens, happens. You become apathetic, indifferent, lazy. That's not helpful. What you're looking for, what we're aiming for, is balanced control. A level that is similar to you having a hand, it's moving, and it's got moving fingers. So that kind of control, that helps you get things done and allows flexibility and spontaneity. Another important thing when it comes to level of control, it's perfectly all right that we are different. So I have, for instance, worked within R&D, research and development, my whole life. And now the last few years, when I'm a coach and I help others, they typically will often work in R&D or other kinds of jobs where things change and you don't know from one day to another exactly what will play out. I had a friend who had another type of job where she knew more or less exactly what would happen, and she couldn't imagine having my kind of job. And I couldn't imagine having hers, because like, don't you get bored when you know exactly what's going to happen every day? So different people require varying degrees of structure and spontaneity, and that's fine. The other thing to remember, we change over time, over life. We have different life phases. So the level of control you might feel comfortable with varies from, your different phases in life. Say when I was like teenager, early 20s, who needs control? Let's just try everything. Everything is a big adventure. Let everything change. But then when I became a mother to my child, I'm like, ooh, I'm responsible for life now. And then two more. Then I didn't want so much unknown. Then I wanted more certainty, because that in itself was so much uncertainty. So when I say, I am Alan, talk about controlling time, you set how much control you want to make it useful for you. And thereby also goes to say time use is a highly personal, individual matter of choice. No one else can tell you how you use your time, if it's good or bad, right? Your boss or your co-workers might think that you could have done that before that, and then we would have been doing something together faster. Sure, in particular things you do with others, but if you look at the time you use in your life, it's completely up to you. It's highly individual, meaning you're the judge. Am I doing this right? Am I doing it in ways that work for me? This is also why I find coaching helpful, to find your way of managing time. So yes, you can learn lots from books and hopefully from videos like these, but to get really down to what works for me, coaching can be really helpful. And if you don't want to have a coach, maybe you discuss with a friend and get some advice. So what his book will not turn you into, and I think these are funny descriptions he has. He says you will not turn into an over-organized person, you'll not turn into an overdoer, and you won't turn into a time nut. I will soon describe what he means by these things. So what he says, all these types have taken a potentially valuable trait and turned it into liability. It's like almost everything. We can do a lot of good things, but if we overdo it, it's no good anymore. So of course it's great to be organized, but not over-organized. Of course, it's great to get things done, but not being an overdoer. And a time nut, which he says, chasing time, of course, is good to be able to meet deadlines and be ambitious, but not to become a time nut. So if you look at an over-organized person, that means that you're more interested, if you would be this, in feeling organized in your head than in accomplishing anything. So the process and the plan becomes more important than what you're doing. Can also turn people into being blind to changes. Because no, I had planned that it was going to be this way, so I can't really see, I don't want to see changes. You can miss out on new opportunities. You might miss out on the needs of others. So Alan says strongly, too much organization is as ineffective as too little. If we talk about the overdoer, is so busy. That's when you become so busy doing that you take no time to assess the true value of what you're doing. That doing itself becomes more important. Ticking off that thing is more important than what it leads to. And this is a typical focus on efficiency. Look, I'm so good at climbing up this tree. I can do it faster than anyone else. Yeah, but you're up in the wrong tree again. So you might be efficient, but you regularly climb up the wrong tree. If you are an overdoer, you also don't know how to relax because you're always thinking about the next thing. You're going to do something and you're planning the next. Finally, his description of a time nut. That's someone who's rushing around to meet an impossible schedule, not even stopping to question the schedule or trying to change it. I'm just rushing. And these people typically know how to save seconds on an unimportant task. So I think these descriptions are rather fun and to the point. And I compare this to what I describe in my own book, Beyond Efficiency, being stuck in the efficiency trap, where you focus only on doing and having a very strict plan and following it and feeling as if you're doing the right thing, but you're actually not using time the way you'd really like to. So what he's telling us is that greater control of your time and your life leads to greater freedom. So I hope that you see that by finding the right level of control for you and using the valuable traits without going to the extremes, you can control your time and your life and thereby get much more freedom.